Hi, I'm Lance Henriksen. You're watching Brian Lomax's Movie Talk.
Hello and welcome to another movie review as part of my 31 Days of Christmas. Today I'm going to be reviewing Die Hard, the action film from the 80s directed by John McTiernan and starring Bruce Willis. However, before I get stuck into Die Hard, I'm joined by a very special guest, my partner in crime over at the Brits on Flicks podcast, which is free to download on iTunes if you didn't know already. Yep, he's here to talk about this very same film, Die Hard. So yeah, Graham, take it away.
Ho, ho, ho. Now I have a machine gun. And that is pretty much how John McClane invented the Christmas jumper. Probably not true, but I would love it if it was true. I'm here to talk about my favourite Christmas movie, and that is Die Hard. When you boil the story of Die Hard down, which is a movie I'm pretty sure everybody has seen, it's about a man who is trying to reconnect with his family at Christmas time. He just wants to go home and spend time with the people he loves most. And wouldn't you believe it, those darn terrorists turn up just to ruin his night. That's right, these people are just having a lovely office party, enjoying their festivities, their Christmas music decorations, when these festive-hating Europeans burst in and start shooting up the joint. Sure, they're after Barabons and something else as well, but pretty much these people are a big bunch of Grinches, and they're there ideally just to waste Christmas for everybody. Which leaves our hero John McClane having to reclaim Christmas, almost. Now, sure, that's a bit of a stretch of an interpretation, but that's the way I like to look at it. Throughout the month of December, I like to indulge in Christmas movies. I'm pretty sure if you're watching Brian's channel, you like to indulge in Christmas movies as well. But at some point, you start to get a little bit burnt out. You start to see a little bit of patterns evolving within the same kind of stories. And you start to get a little jaded. And that is time for Die Hard. It's time to put on Die Hard because it still does have that lovely Christmas message of spending time with your family, but it has lots of explosions and the deaths of terrorists as well, which just brings everybody together on a warm Christmas night when you want to watch something Christmassy. Die Hard is my choice. It is a fantastic movie, it's a really enjoyable movie, and it is very much a Christmas movie. Anyway, I'd like to thank Brian for letting me come on and talk about one of my favourite Christmas movies. Remember to give Brian a little like on this video, and if you like my kind of stuff, drop over to Man vs Film and you can see more of my ramblings about movies. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Graham. Loving the Christmas jumper there, mate. Definitely in the spirit. Anyway, yes, Die Hard. As Graham has already pointed out, this film is basically the antidote to the typical kind of Christmas film. There are two types of Christmas film, I feel. There are those that are set at Christmas, and there are those that are about Christmas. So you get a film like Santa Claus, it's specifically about Christmas. You get a film like this, it's just set at Christmas. It just happens to be set at Christmas. You could strip away the Christmas kind of scenery that's in there, the Christmas music, and it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference. But it just so happens to be set at Christmas. But it still makes it a Christmas film. And like I say, it is the antidote to those other kind of Christmas films. Released in the same year as Lethal Weapon, this, along with that film, pretty much kind of gave a jolt in the arm to the action genre. Like, until these two films, action movies were basically muscle men movies. They were Schwarzenegger, they were Stallone, they were ridiculously superheroic antics. It takes just an everyman cop. He's your run-of-the-mill kind of normal guy. You know, he gets hurt in this. He bleeds a lot in this. So yeah, he's basically just coming home for the holiday season, hopefully to reunite with his estranged wife and kind of rebuild that relationship. But when Alan Rickman's terrorist, more of a robber, kind of takes over the Nakatomi Plaza building where John McClane's wife works, all hell breaks loose, and that's when it's up to him to save not only his wife but all the other hostages in the building, as well as getting out alive himself. That dynamic, that whole, you know, everyman hero kind of thing, really set this film apart from the rest of the action movies that were out there. It was quite something to watch when I first watched this. I remember I was about 9 years old when I saw this. And yeah, just how different it was to all the other action movies that seem to be out there. And most action movies since kind of owe a debt in some way to this and Lethal Weapon. We have characters these days that are flawed, that get hurt. Yeah, John McClane in this film, before we got the Good Day to Die Hard version of him, is a fantastic character. And one of the things about this film that again sets it apart from the rest is that it really is character driven. It's a cracking script, not just action, you know, it's not just great action set pieces, but everything within the film builds character. You think about his relationship with Al, this other police officer, and some of the things that come out of that relationship there, where like Al has this secret, or not so much a secret, but a backstory that comes out later in the film, and then he has to kind of deal with that later on in the film after that. He has to decide whether or not to pull his gun again. There's always something character driven going on. The stuff between McClane and his wife, you know, at first we can kind of get the impression that maybe his wife is to blame for this split, that maybe she was too career driven, but we also see that he is also maybe that way, that maybe he's too tied to the police force. Maybe he could have done more to support his wife when she got this promotion. So yeah, there's always something character driven going on, and that's what really makes this film quite special. Minor characters also get something to do, like the character of Argyle, the chauffeur. He gets to take out one of the terrorists, but he's also funny. There's quite a few points throughout this film where he brings quite a bit of humour. Not that we don't get that from other characters anyway. We get this complete douchebag who works at the Nakatomi Plaza, and he's just, yeah, there's a moment where he essentially is trying to bargain with Hans Gruber. He thinks he's on the same playing field. He thinks they're one and the same, and they're clearly not. Hans Gruber is a vicious killer, and he's just a douchebag kind of, you know, typical money man who works in a big office building. So yeah, that scene is really disturbing in many ways, but also quite funny, and you just can't help but think that this guy's a douchebag. While we're on the subject of Hans Gruber, Alan Rickman in this film is absolutely brilliant. He does this kind of German accent. It's a typical kind of Alan Rickman accent. There's no mistaking it's his voice, but he does a subtle kind of German accent with it. But then at one point he switches to American, and this was his first film role, his first big film role. He'd come from the stage and TV before this. This was the first time he had a big role in a film, but he really just nails it. He steals the show, and there's no wonder he suddenly became A-list material straight after this. It's also no wonder that nearly every action film afterwards kind of had a European bad guy in it, all trying to, I guess, aspire to be the next Hans Gruber, and all failing quite miserably. And then of course we get Bruce Willis, our hero, not an action star at this point. He'd come from Moonlighting, which was essentially a romantic comedy. He'd done a couple of other minor roles in films before, but he was no way an action star at all. He comes on this and just, wow, yeah, really sells us on the fact that he's an action star, to the point that I guess it's a persona that's been hard for him to escape since, even though he has managed it at times with films like 12 Monkeys and, you know, things that kind of give him a bit more of a chance to act. This film was also the start of a 1-2 punch for John McTiernan, because he followed it up with Predator. So Die Hard and Predator are really two seminal action films of the 80s that kind of still shape a lot of action movies that we get today. It may not be a conventional Christmas movie, and you may even wonder why it's appearing in this 31 Days of Christmas, but it is no doubt a Christmas film. It has the Christmas music, it has the Christmas office party scene in which we see the Christmas decorations and the tree. So yeah, for whatever reason, it does put you in that Christmas spirit. I love Die Hard, and I give it a 5 out of 5. Absolutely. So if you've seen Die Hard, and let's face it, if you've not, you've probably been burying your head in the sand for your whole life, then please comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And until tomorrow, thanks for watching.